Well, I'm so glad to be here tonight. I'm just a little bit road weary. I feel good in my spirit. My spirit is good. I'm just tired physically because my day began at 3 a.m. this morning, and the whole time I was there, I was at the Supreme Court at 7 a.m., and our evening we didn't finish till around 10 at night. And so we were just going full speed ahead and believing God to shift the movement in Florida, in our nation, to a pro-life movement. And I'm going to talk just a little bit about that tonight, and Daniel's going to bring up some photos here in just a moment. But I want to share a story with you first. And actually, I heard Dutch share this story, and I got him to send it to me, and he just sent it. And I had asked for it yesterday, and so I had to ask again. And the Bible says, ask and keep on asking. You don't just ask one time, okay? I have people get mad at me all the time. They send me one text and I don't answer them back, or they call me one time and I don't call them back. That's not because I don't want to talk to you. I'm busy and I forget about it. So keep on asking, keep on texting, keep on calling till you get me, okay? It's not that big a deal. And so anyway, this story I'm going to read to you, and I'm going to apply this to the court. I'm going to apply this to revival tonight. I'm going to apply this to what God is doing in this house, what He's doing in your life. And it's called the amazing Chinese bamboo plant. The Chinese bamboo plant starts from a tiny seed. You plant the seed in the dirt and you water the seed. Very little seems to happen the first year. Despite your efforts, only a tiny shoot pokes out of the ground. So the second year you water and fertilize and you protect the seed, and nothing happens. So the fourth year or the third year you water and fertilize and protect the seed, and nothing happens. So the fourth year you water and fertilize and protect the seed, and nothing happens. So the fifth year, you water and fertilize and protect the seed. And guess what happens? Finally, during the fifth year, the Chinese bamboo plant begins to grow. In fact, it grows 90 feet in 6 weeks. Wow. How many times do we, because we don't see the first year, the second year, or the third year, or years it takes, we give up. But what that Chinese bamboo plant is doing is creating a root system in the ground. So when it actually goes up, the winds are not able to topple it over because it's created a deep root system. You see, your root system's so important. This is why a lot of people don't make it in Florida, because they don't go deep. You have to go deep. Chuck Pierce told me, he said when he came to Florida, I started having him come to Florida years ago, and he said, these demons in Florida have teeth. And many people don't make it the first 2, 3, 4 years in Florida because they don't let their root system go deep enough. The same thing with revival. We want revival right now, but what God's doing, He's planting a deep root system in us, in our region, in our territory, and He's planting a deep root system in our nation. Now, Veronica West just released a word from the Lord just a day or two ago, a powerful word. And she begins seeing the root systems of nations across the globe. Some of the root systems were rotting. Some of them were flourishing. And nations' root systems were intertwined together. But then the Lord took her to the root system of America and showed her that the tap root of America is the root of mercy. Go and read this. Now, she didn't have any clue that in 2016, Dutch and myself, we talked about this last night because we was at the White House, and where the angel met us and decreed 6 times, mercy, 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 mercy. And she had no clue about that the Lord had given a dream to someone where Dutch was saying, I have tapped into the root of mercy. And she didn't know that Kingsley Walker had a vision. He lives in St. Louis, and that was raining mercy coins. Actually, he minted some, and I have one of them. I have a silver mercy coin. On one side was the American flag waving, and it didn't say old glory, it said new glory. And on the other side of that coin were the words mercy. And they kept raining, and Dutch kept picking them up. You see, we're in a season right now of mercy, and God is releasing His mercy into this nation in a powerful way. And as most of you know, I was at the Supreme Court from Tuesday through yesterday, through last night. And I want to share briefly, I don't have time to share everything, and I'll try to be brief and amazing, as to how we got there and how we got to where we are right now. Most of you know that back in 1973, our nation shifted from a nation that protected life to a nation that took life. Took it in the womb, but also took it before people got to the grave as well. There are some states today that have established euthanasia, that if you want to, if you get too sick and you don't want to tough it out, you can euthanize yourself legally. So we've seen that happen also, but not every state is doing that. Thankfully, Florida doesn't do that. I love my state. And so in 2003, God gave Cheryl a dream. We had never worked in government before. Matter of fact, we kind of just kept everything Christian, and government was government. Until she has a dream. And in this dream, she and I have spent the night in the White House in her dream. And I get up the next morning, I'm walking through the White House, and it's early in the morning because I'm an early riser, and I don't know why people like getting up late. There's so much that happens early in the morning. And so I'm walking through the White House looking at the pictures, and Bush comes out of a side door and comes up to me in her dream and says, Ken, I heard that you were here. And I've been wanting to meet you because I've heard so much about you. Now, this is very important because you need to understand this was a spiritual dream. That the spirit realm has already heard about you. The spirit realm knows whether or not you're a threat or knows whether or not you're a liability. The spirit realm already knows if you can shift atmospheres and change directions in the government and in society. And you'll start, and when you become that threat to darkness, you'll start getting dreams from the kingdom of light as to how to impact that dark realm. Now, if you're not a threat, you won't get any dreams like that. But if you're a threat, you'll start getting dreams about changing things. And so in her dream, he and I start walking through the White House, and he's telling me about all the different pictures there, and he takes me into a trophy room. We didn't know at the time that the White House has a trophy room in it. And he showed me the trophies of past presidents, and then he showed me his trophies. Trophies would be the heads of animals. They don't have that in the White House now. Now, if I was president, we'd have a room like that. I guarantee you. But and so he showed me the trophies, showed me his trophies, and then we go into a tunnel and come up in the city. When we get into the city, we're talking to people in the city and just having a great time, talking about hunting, talking about fishing. And then the Secret Service calls him. And they said, "Where are you? We don't know where you are." He said, "I'm okay. I'm with Ken." Now, see, again, this is a spiritual dream. that God assigns people to become watchmen intercessors over certain political figures. And I'll tell you part of my assignment here in a moment. I've had several over the years. And then we go into another tunnel and we come up in the Supreme Court in her dream. And he and I are standing on the bench of the Supreme Court. And he says to me, he says, in order for me to do what God has called me to do in this nation, I need some of these people removed from this bench. Can you help me? Remember again, this is a spiritual dream. And in her dream, I said, yes, I can. With prayer and fasting, we can get this done. And I want to say to you, are you a threat? Thank you. Thank you. I like that. I like that response. I'm a threat. And then I said to him, I have a friend by the name of Dutch Sheets. I'll call him and he'll help us. And in her dream, I take out my Razor phone. You remember those Motorola Razor phones? Those were so cool phones. I pulled out my Razor phone and I called Dutch and he appeared in the dream. And so this was prior to Justice Roberts and Justice Alito going to the bench. And so we made several trips to the Supreme Court, and at that time we had an inside person. Now you always got to have inside people, and God gives them to you. We met with one last night. And this inside person twice, 2 different times, got us on the bench of the Supreme Court. Dutch and I, and Cheryl one time, and then Dutch and I together one time. After hours, after 5 p.m. And I didn't know this, that each chair is custom made for the judges, for the justices. Ginsburg's chair was taller than the rest of them. That tells you something right there. Remember, everything's spiritual. To the prophetic, everything's prophetic. To the pathetic, everything is pathetic. So hers were taller than anybody else, although she was shorter than anybody on the bench. So that was saying spiritually, I'm in charge. So they told us when we got up on the bench, they said, don't touch anything. But my arm accidentally bumped 9 chairs as I walked down that bench. Threat. I like being a threat. I really do. And we saw Rehnquist and Sandra Day O'Connor come off the bench. O'Connor resigned, retired, and Rehnquist passed. We really didn't want to lose him, Sandra Day O'Connor. We wanted her to go. And so through the years, we have gone up there periodically and prayed whenever the Lord would give us an assignment. We don't just go up there just to be going up there. We only go up there when we have the word of the Lord to go. And so on 7/22/2020, last year, I had a dream, and I wake up from the dream with an incredible thunderstorm going on in the Atlantic Ocean. This is when we lived on the bench, and a beach. Bench, yeah. And, I mean, this thunderstorm was awesome. I got up, it was so strong, and I just got out there and watched the light show. Thunder rolling. But I had wakened from a dream, and in this dream, Tangi was working in the Supreme Court. She's a spiritual daughter to me. We're connected. We're aligned together. And she's working in the Supreme Court, and John Roberts, Chief Justice, goes to her and says to her, tell Ken Malone our positions are being overrun. I need his help. She relays the message to me, and I say something back to her that I've never used this terminology before. I said, tell him, damn the torpedoes, we're coming. A threat. And so I immediately called Dutch with this dream. He said, God's about to do something. God's about to shift something here in the court. And so I got to looking up that phrase, damn the torpedoes, and found out that it was spoken by Admiral David Farragut in the siege of Mobile Bay during the Civil War. He was the admiral. And they had parked their ships in Pensacola with the sole purpose of going into Mobile Bay on August the 5th. So guess where we were last year? We were on the steps of the Supreme Court on August the 5th, the anniversary of Farragut saying that. What happened in Mobile Bay as they were going in, the Confederacy had placed underwater mines, torpedoes. It's what they call torpedoes. They were underwater mines, and the first boat that was going in hit a mine and was sank, and like 70 or 80 guys passed on that boat as it sunk in Mobile Bay. All of the other boats began backing up because they didn't want to hit the mines. But Admiral Farragut said, damn the torpedoes, full speed. See, he was a threat. And you and I have got to come to a place where we're willing to say, regardless of what's going on in society, regardless of what's going on in our life, come to the point where we say, damn the torpedoes, I'm going to do what God's called me to do. I'm going to be a threat. So we went there on August the 5th. Remember, I had the dream on July 22nd, 2020. This is an important date. I do not realize how important it is now, until now. So we went there on August the 5th, 2020, began making decrees, and began damning the injustice. Now, the word damn is a word that's used in the Bible, that where things are damned, he that believeth shall be saved, he that believeth not shall be what? Damned. It's used in the Bible over and over. It's actually a legal term. Even judges use this. So we begin damning the abortion movement on August the 5th. We begin decreeing that justices would come off of that bench and be removed from that bench. And we just said, Lord, we know who you want to remove, but if you need some help, how about such and such? And then a month later, she passes. Talking about Ginsburg. And I don't want to make light of that. I know her family hated to see that happen. But then we saw that happen, so we think, well, now that dream is fulfilled. But then on July 22nd, 7/22/2021, 1 year exactly to the day, the Mississippi briefs of Dobbs versus the Jackson Women's Center is filed. Exact same day. And so last week or 2 weeks ago, Dutch and I were talking to Matt Lockett, who has the Justice House of Prayer in Washington, D.C., and they stand there at the court almost daily with the life tape over their mouth in a silent siege against the court and against abortion. And so we got to talking, and he says, you realize that you had the dream on 7/22. These briefs were filed on 7/22 a year later. Cindy Jacobs said that what we need to be praying over the court is Daniel 7:22. Now, Daniel 7 is all about the judge of the ages taking his position, taking his seat in the court of heaven. And listen to this. It says, until the ancient of... Well, let's go to 21. I kept looking. Now, you've got to do this. You've got to get the rapture thing out of your thinking. You're never going to change America as long as you're trying to get out of America. Get it out of your thinking. This does not happen after the rapture. We're living in this right now. Verse 21, and I kept looking, and that horn was waging war with the saints and overpowering them. Verse 22. Until the Ancient of Days came and judgment was passed in favor of the saints of the highest one, and time arrived when the saints took possession of the kingdom. Now look at that. Here they have been getting beat up for years and years and years. And they're singing, I'll fly away. But there have been a few, a remnant, who have said, God's going to give us America. And they stand in the gap and they make up the hedge. And so I got to witness Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday history being made as the Ancient of Days took his seat. Some of you may not know this, and we take actually prophetic insight from this, that directly above the chamber, the Supreme Court chamber, is a full-size basketball court. Directly above that. I've actually been there. A court. Above the court. There's always a court above the court. John Locke said if you can't get justice through the courts of men, you make an appeal to heaven. That's where the flag came from. Wow. So, go ahead if you got some of those pictures. If you can, put them in the order I sent them to you. Some of those pictures I want you to see of when we were in the court just the other day. And while he's pulling those up, let me say this. I got to hear a lady by the name of Carrie Severino. Actually, she was on Fox News yesterday. She used to clerk for Justice Thomas. And she said, you think the decision's going to be made Friday? She said the decision can happen anytime between Friday and June when they release it. And the justices can even change their vote in that time frame. And she was telling us that it was important for us to pray, not just to say, hey, we've won this thing. Remember the bamboo story. We haven't won it until it is put into law. So that means we have to continue to contend from now until it's made public. There is some belief that they are going to give Mississippi the 15 days that they're talking about. And somebody picked up prophetically last night, Dutch, you have been talking about give them 15 now for years. Give him 15. And so we have to continue to contend and war for this. Another thing that I saw on Wednesday is the pro-life people outnumbered the abortion people 25-1. First time in the history of this happening in Washington, D.C. We were actually positioned where we were positioned. We had a permit that we got through Andrea Lafferty, great woman of God. Great woman of God. And we were right next to the Library of Congress, which faces the court. We had a worship team. And we had a stage and a place that we could pray from. And it was cold. The ground, the cold went up through your bones. But I decided I'm going to go down there where the protesting's going on. So I walked down where the protest was, and they were all had megaphones and all had microphones and PA systems. And however, the pro-life people outnumbered them at least 25-1. It shows you that God has raised up a group of people that have become a threat. How you doing there, Daniel? So we stayed there all day long. Even past the time that it was over. Now that was, do you have it in the order that I sent them? Okay. This right here is a pro-life vehicle. What had happened when we saw this, we had just been, this took place on Thursday. There was a place that the abortion people created an altar of Baal. And several women took abortion pills on the altar of Baal right in front of the court. So we found out where it was. And so we went there to pray and clean it out. And after we prayed, we found some abortion signs, and we all put our feet on them and put them under our feet. And then ripped the signs apart and threw them in the garbage. We walked on the street, and this car pulls up. It says, abortionpillreversal.com. Abortion changes you. Baby lives matter. Actually, Vips took that picture. So we knew that we were tracking with the Lord. Go to the whatever slide you have next. Okay, that's me in front of the Supreme Court there. And it was called, Vips took that picture for me. And this was yesterday. This was not during the hearing, because you couldn't get to where I'm standing there now during the hearing. They had it all blocked off. Nobody could get up there. Go to the next one, Daniel. Okay, I want to bring this one up last, and if you could go to some more, I want this one to be last. There I am. Right there's the Supreme Court behind me. There was a team that just happened to be walking by. They were not a part of us. A Hispanic team from in Texas somewhere. I want to think San Antonio. They all sang, and this guy, he prayed. And they were powerful. What I noticed about them was their passion and their purity. And they came all the way from Texas, drove, by the way, all the way from Texas to Washington, D.C. to take a stand. Now, these people are a threat. Go to the next one. There I am up there by the door. There's the Capitol right across from the Supreme Court. I had been up there praying on Thursday. That's the bronze door up there. And you, like I said, you couldn't get up there on on Wednesday because of the hearing. But that's where I have prayed many, many times. That's a picture of the Capitol. But the reason I took this picture was this skyline that goes even with the Capitol all of a sudden appeared out of nowhere. Greg Hood and I are standing there at the steps of the Supreme Court, and all of a sudden this skyline appeared. We felt like it was confirmation of the glory of God being released in the land. You see, America belongs to God, and the taproot is mercy. Quit giving America away. Quit giving your city and your state away to the devil. Come on. Go to the next one. All right, we'll end with this one here, because we're all hungry. We had gone to dinner last night with Christina Bobbs. She is, anybody ever watch One America News on? Anybody ever watch that? You have? We don't have it on the cable around here. You can get it online, or if you have Dish Network, whatever the satellite networks are, you can get it on there. We went to dinner with her, and she brought up a dream that Greg Hood had. Greg and I and Dutch have not been together since August 5th of 2020. And in the dream, we went to the White House and Dutch began releasing the Lion of the tribe of Judah against the dragon. And in the dream where we came out of was out of the east, and we were just to the east of the White House. And so it was obvious that we had to go last night. And so about 9 o'clock, we're standing in front of the White House. This is the picture that I took. Making intercession and decreeing that not only the head but the neck, because in the dream the neck and the head was severed by the Lion of Judah. and was empowered. Listen to this. In the dream, this lion was empowered by the ecclesia. Very important. So we're there making intercession. And one of the things, if you ever get a chance to go with me up there, and I hope you do, you never engage wicked people, because you'll get off your assignment if you do. When you're on your assignment, you stay on your assignment. I've taken some people up there that have done just that, and I won't take them back, because we're there on assignment. So we're there on assignment, and this girl walks by. She must have been 30 years old. And as she walks by, she looks at us and she says, "This is my city, not your city. This is where I live. You don't live here." And Christina Bob looked at me and I said, "That's a mocking spirit." Now, we didn't engage her because we knew that we were threatening the atmosphere. See, you could get off course by going and engaging her, but you don't do that. Do what? Yeah. You don't engage wickedness when it's trying to... See, that was trying to get us off of our assignment. It was trying to intimidate us, but we were not the least bit intimidated by this. Trying to intimidate us, trying to tell us you have no authority here, but we know where our authority lies. So anyway, thank you for those of you that prayed for us while we were there. We really do appreciate that. And it was really needed as well. And I can't wait. Last night, for me, although we were supposed to be there the whole time, last night was the icing on the cake for me, because of the things that God brought out prophetically. He brought out Dutch's book through a prayer that was prayed about the heart of America. He has a book called "Tell Your Heart to Beat Again." And it's not even about America. It's about people who have hope deferred. And I don't have time to go into all of the detail of it. But we began telling the heart of America, beat again. Beat again.